Hey everybody, it's Atheist for the Cause here, and you won't believe what side of the CNN blackmail scandal the Young Turks is on. We're gonna do a video response to it right now.
Unless you have been living under a rock, you're probably familiar with the following video that President Trump tweeted out about his nemesis, CNN. Let's take a look at that video.
Watch Cenk when they come back. He's trying to hold back his laugh because this is hilarious.
So Donald Trump tweeted that out with the hashtag #FraudNewsCNN and hashtag FNN. And that was actually a clip that we can attribute to Reddit user #AssholeSolo, who was very excited when he found out that the president was using his work. He took to Reddit to say, "Holy shit, I wake up and have my morning coffee, and who retweets my shit post but the MAGA emperor himself? I am honored." That was on a thread in The Donald, which is a pro-Trump subreddit. And very quickly, people went to go see some of his other work, including—
Whoa. I'm gonna go back. I just noticed something. The Donald? Where's the underscore? Is this actually, was it actually this, or did they just forget the underscore?
Pro-Trump subreddit. And very quickly, people went to go see some of his other work, including Jared Yates Sexton, who is a New York Times contributor and an assistant professor at Georgia Southern University. And he dug up some other memes by this creator. Let's take a look at one of the memes. So there you go. Here's another meme from the guy Trump tweeted. This one showing CNN personalities with Jewish stars. The caption to that is "Something strange about CNN, can't quite put my finger on it." And that's sort of just the beginning. There were other ones that Jared tweeted out. But following this on Tuesday, Solo—
Yeah, so he put a bunch of Jewish stars on the Jewish CNN reporters.
Took to Reddit to apologize for his earlier posts. He has since taken down that apology and deleted his Reddit account, but we do have some screenshots in part.
No, it's not to apologize for the previous post. It's to apologize for this being critical of CNN. That's why he was forced to apologize, because of the body slamming meme, or whatever you want to call it, where Trump took down CNN.
His apology reads, "I would also like to apologize for the posts made that were racist, bigoted, and anti-Semitic. I'm in no way this kind of person. I love and accept people of all walks of life. I do not advocate violence against the press. This has been an extreme wake-up call to always consider how others may think or feel about what is being said before clicking the submit button anywhere online that an opinion is allowed." He then added that trolling is nothing more than bullying a wide audience.
It's weird how CNN and corporate that sounds.
Now, people on Reddit accused CNN of bullying him or of blackmailing him or threatening to dox
I wonder why the hell they do that.
him, which is releasing his personal information in order to get this apology. And that was shot down by Andrew Kaczynski, who works for K.
Oh, well, if the fucking guy who did the doxing says that he contacted CNN first.
File, which is the investigative reporting team for CNN. He tweeted out, #AssholeSolo posted his apology before we ever spoke him. He called us afterwards to apologize.
So let's just think about this, the cognitive dissonance. Like, if you thought about this at all, how did this go down? #AssholeSolo posted a bunch of shit, mainly the CNN, the one that was critical of CNN, that President Trump retweeted. Then just randomly one day he posted an apology, just out of the blue. And it was that corporate official CNN sounding apology. That's what we're expected to believe here. No, thank you. I think that this quote-unquote investigator, went in, found his personal information on Reddit, as he himself explains, which you won't talk about at all in this video. And then he goes and threatens, literally by his own words, to dox this guy. Because they say we, retain the right to, publish his information in the future should any of that change. Something along those lines. It was a clear threat. I mean, there's no other way to see this than CNN contacted him, and then he was blackmailed into apologizing or have his personal information released. So when you criticize doxing later in this video, I want everybody to think about how against doxing you are. Because CNN is the one that threatened to dox here.
Apologize further, but still, once the internet has a hold of an idea, it went all the way. This led to, on Tuesday, the hashtag CNN Blackmail began trending on Twitter, with users sharing other memes of Trump chasing and pummeling CNN. Let's take.
Yes, because when you don't like something and you try to dox people or take away people's free speech, what the answer to that is to do exactly what you don't want done. So you don't want this CNN being pummeled by WWE meme? Well, guess what? Now there's going to be a ton of them. And then they're going to put on a ton of non-WWE ones. There are some hilarious ones like Mortal Kombat and stuff. You check them out because they are absolutely fantastic. There's like one where firefighters are spraying a fire extinguisher and fake news just keeps coming out in the water.
Take a look at an example of this. This is, there will now be more anti-CNN memes than ever before. Thank you at CNN, hashtag CNN.
Absolutely true.
Blackmail, and this reached sort of a tipping point most recently when Jack Posobiec, is a controversial pro-Trump activist whose name I hope I am pronouncing wrong, shared the personal details of multiple.
She doesn't think about how bad this is. She doesn't even know who he is. All she knows that she's reading off a paper because I've pretty much I've read. I know this is like the exact wording from one of the articles I read. I can't remember exactly what article it is, but it's in, I think I even sourced it in one of my previous videos. Jack Posobiec, he's a Trump supporter, and she's hoping she disrespects him by pronouncing his name wrong just because he supports Trump. That's how these people think. She knows nothing else about him.
Multiple CNN employees and talent. Again, he was doxing CNN employees and talent, and that has been confirmed by multiple news outlets that information is correct, but we're not going to share any of that. This is.
I guess she knows that he doxed people, so maybe it was partly to do with that, but I mean, she said it right after she said that he was a Trump supporter, so I think it has more to do with him being a Trump supporter.
This is getting out of hand. I want to get a reaction from you guys because it seems like there's sort of no end to this. If you call someone out for doxing, then you're going to get doxed. No one believes this apology. People think that it was just sort of made up to get this to go away. I don't know.
Because of the information, the CNN K-file dude released himself saying that they were threatening to release his information in the future if his actions don't change, of being critical of CNN. And yeah, they threw in like racist, sexist, all that, and trolling in there as well. But it was about being critical of CNN. And they have a history of doing this, as I show in my previous videos. If you don't know all the story, go watch my previous videos on this. There are people coming out of the woodwork now saying this also happened to them, and there are screenshots of other CNN employees, producers, saying, "Oh yeah, they tracked down people too." After this guy was being trolled, and he threatened to dox them, and that made the guy apologize. So this is a pattern of behavior. I cannot stress that enough. That is being overlooked by the general public right now. This is not an individual instance. And also this is backed by CNN itself. They took what K-File said, Andrew, they took what he said, and they supported him. And they pushed it as a narrative on the show for at least a day, maybe two. So they clearly support this strategy. And this is a big problem with CNN targeting private citizens. And you're supporting it. What the fuck is wrong with you?
What to believe here? It feels like an all-out war.
So it is an all-out war. It is. And CNN is going to get their ass beat for it. I don't know why why CNN thinks that they can go up against effectively the entire public, target private citizens, and still win a war, but they're gonna lose badly.
There's two separate parts of this story, and I'm on different sides of those parts, which I'll get to in a second. Let's first note the fun parts of the story.
Yeah, because we have caveats even for something this obvious, where CNN clearly blackmailed them. But yeah, let's get into this.
We're having serious conversations in this country, all over the press, about a guy named Han Asshole Solo. That's in every story.
You're clearly on both sides of the issues here. Let's talk about his name.
Incidentally,
she set it up so seriously and nicely. I'm like, she missed a bunch of the facts that were harmful to CNN, of course, but I was hoping that, they would get right into the serious stuff, but nope, right off the bat, lighten the mood. I guess that's kind of their style, but so let's take the seriousness out of it. I think this is an attempt to kind of get people in a good mood so they can give CNN a pass, but more easily, because CNN is so in the wrong here. Defending them is tough. It seems like ever since the elections, I mean, the Young Turks must have been paid off around the elections, because pre-election, they were really Bernie Sanders and all of that, but then once Bernie Sanders lost and they went into for Hillary Clinton, they were never the same after that. There was kind of a war within the Young Turks and the people who wanted to support Hillary Clinton and the people who wanted to continue to support Bernie Sanders or a third party or even Trump. They all went. They had their war, and the Hillary Clinton supporting side won out, and that was mainly Cenk, and I think Anna was on that side too. So you had the two heads that obviously were gonna win out, and some of the other people were on that side as well. But they've never been the same since, and there have been reports that they have George Soros funding. I wouldn't be surprised if there's George Soros influence. And now this may sound a little conspiratorial, but I mean, just look at them. If you've watched them at all, pre-election and now post-election, do they sound the same? Like the same show at all? They're completely different, in my opinion.
Read the Star Wars books, that is his actual middle name.
I was gonna say it's redundant, because one of the beloved characteristics of Han Solo is that he's kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
You don't need to say asshole, he's Han Solo.
See, not fake news.
When it was blanked out on CNN.com, I thought it was Han effing Solo, essentially.
Oh, right. So much better.
It's better off the tongue. But this is Han asshole Solo. It doesn't sound as good.
I actually thought it was Han fucking Solo as well. I'm like, cause they, blurred it out, or they had the stars over it or whatever, and I'm like, well, you don't even actually know what his name was, because you're not supposed to do that kind of stuff with actual names.
Good to me.
Yeah,
that's my main gripe with him.
That's a great point. Okay, second of all, let's note that the original Trump tweet where he calls CNN fake and fraudulent is a video that is fake and fraudulent. That's not actually Donald Trump that clotheslines Vince McMahon in the original video. it's a guy in a Trump wig, and then they cut, and then Trump gets up.
Okay, you got him. Yep, you're really on all sides of the issue here. So can we get to the real stuff now?
So it's totally irrelevant, but just a fun thing that the tape is actually a fraud.
And it's also within wrestling, which even if it was
No shit, the whole thing, all of fake, all quote unquote professional wrestling, it's for entertainment. It's all none of it's real. That's the beauty of it. That's why this whole meme is fantastic.
was the real Donald Trump, would still be a fake fight.
And it's not actually CNN.
It's CNN is the fraud. You guys are missing the whole fucking connection here.
It's Vince McMahon that he's co-signing. It's fake in 3 different ways. Okay, just a fun little irony. And then finally, we find out that it's CNN.
The main point, though, is CNN got their ass beat down by Donald Trump. Everybody saw it. Trump should get. You know, it'd be absolutely fantastic if Trump went on WWE and went and got himself a championship belt or something. Like and if they did like a whole fake news or CNN or something thing character, and had like some sort of championship match where Trump takes the belt. That would be hilarious.
CNN has an investigative reporting team. That's the most interesting part of the story. Okay. Anyway, so now on to the real point.
I'm laughing for so many reasons. Yeah, what? Because I've made the same joke that CNN has, you know, an investigative team. How could they? But that the Young Turks is making this joke. Because the Young Turks doesn't have one. There's no way in hell.
So over the weekend, everybody's going nuts. This is Donald Trump inciting violence against reporters. I don't agree with that. It's just a wrestling thing. Just look.
All right. See, this is where Chunk's gonna show he's a real person. Like he the frustrating thing about Chunk, he completely understands, you know, the average person. He really does. And he's actually in touch with how average people think. So it's kind of funny. He's going to explain exactly why this is bullshit to CNN, but CNN's not going to listen, so we don't have to worry about it. But if CNN actually listened to Chunk, it'd be problematic for us because they'd actually learn their lesson.
Regular Americans watch wrestling, that includes me, and when you equate wrestling with real violence, they go, okay, these guys, they can't take a joke, they hyperventilate over everything, man. They blame Trump for everything when he was just sending out a fun tweet about wrestling. And it feels like the boy who cried wolf, when you don't have to cry wolf, the dude's a wolf, right?
So can we just like cut it here, because that was pretty fantastic. I mean, I told you, Chunk understands the average person. He's right on.
There's 1,000 other things that he does wrong. 23 million people are going to lose their health insurance. We could accidentally go to war with North Korea because he doesn't know what he's doing, and go on and on and on. You don't have to go nuts over this.
Whoa. If we go to war with North Korea, that is a completely justified war. First of all, there's already technically a war going on. It's just an armistice. And second of all, they effectively killed an American. They made him go brain dead, sent him back to us brain dead but alive after being in a coma for a year. And he died days later. I mean, so, you know, there are good reasons to go to war with North Korea. And I don't think we should just be opposed to war in general. I mean, we've tried economic sanctions. We've tried talking to them. So this whole like North Korean thing, if we go to war with them at some point, it's justified. And that doesn't show that Trump's a warmonger or anything.
I mean, we made just such a giant case over it. On the other hand, the doxing and blackmail allegations for CNN. And by the way, I said that in a video, the first part that I put out over the weekend. So I've been clear about that, okay? But this new twist, no. CNN didn't threaten to blackmail the guy. First of all,
What? We reserve the right to post this information in the future should any of that change. Should he return to his, CNN critical or quote unquote trolling ways. Yeah, give me a fucking break, Cheng. That you don't think that's a threat to dox?
well, the guy.
Why did they track down his personal information if they weren't going to dox him? They could have just contacted him on Twitter and be like, hey, we want to talk to you. No, that's not what they chose to do. They chose to get his actual real information, his private information, and threaten him.
Apparently apologized and took all that stuff off before CNN even had a conversation with him.
Oh yeah, he apparently put all this stuff on and then just, blew up big after Trump retweeted it, and then boom, he erased everything, deleted his account, apologized, all of that in a very corporate sounding pro CNN way. Without before he was ever contacted by CNN. This is completely believable. They're lying. There's no way he's that stupid. This is the face of a liar. And, sometimes you wonder if they're just incompetent. You say usually the simplest answer, which is usually incompetence, is usually the right one. Here it actually is lying, outright lying. There's no way that they are this stupid. And they're purposely leaving out like the most damaging evidence to CNN. Where the guy they're citing as a source for saying this whole thing, for saying that the apology happened first, was the one who actually did the doxing by his own words. You don't get better evidence than that.
So it's factually incorrect. That doesn't stop people like Senator.
No, you're factually incorrect, son of a bitch.
Ted Cruz, who's a U.S. senator, from jumping in saying, I think CNN might have done something illegal. So you don't know any of the facts. You're such a blowhard.
Yeah, he and I covered this. Ted Cruz said that if they took his... notice they get real vague here. They don't get into the facts, because if you get into the facts here, you have to give away that they've been lying up to this point. The details and the facts here are that if CNN went and used their connections to effectively steal his IP, and gain his IP address, that would give away his location. That would be theft, and then that would turn into basically, I forgot what the exact term was, but it was like extortion by theft or something like that.
You're such an annoying, phony politician. Okay. Now, but what CNN did do is...
Yeah, let's get in on that and, just kind of cover that and hit Ted Cruz and not give any of the facts, because he's actually right and we don't want to expose ourselves as liars. Look at this. Okay, you could just see the mental gymnastics on this pause. I never know where I'm going to pause until you get these great faces. This is just a face of someone like, okay, how do I get all this out without fucking it up?
They said, look, we know his identity, but we're going to keep it,
Look at, he's looking at every place but the camera. Down, over, then he glimpsed at the camera, then over, like, Jesus Christ.
Secret or whatever, unless he does this kind of stuff again. I don't think that that's unreasonable, and so that's an interesting conversation to have.
So you've kind of lulled your audience to sleep, but that comment pretty much just explains blackmail.
But to say, wait a minute, you're a deeply bigoted anti-Semitic guy who has put out a lot of different things that we think, whether they're right.
That's a completely different subject. That's completely off from from what Trump did and all of that. But yeah, okay, so he had some bigoted tweets or whatever. That really isn't the issue here. That's part of the reason I think CNN chose to go after him, is because they're like, oh, he posted all this racist stuff. If we track him down, we can make ourselves look good and use an example of him, because people are going to be, they're going to be think he's a terrible person for some of his bigoted stuff, and then we'll put ourselves in with the victims of the bigotry.
Right or wrong, that's targeting us. So if you put out stuff like that again, yeah, of course I reserve the right to tell people who you are. They didn't say, I'm gonna put out his home address so you can go threaten the guy personally. CNN never said that.
They didn't specifically say that. They said they'd put out his personal information, though. I mean, or they said, they reserve the right to. So I mean, it definitely include his personal address. It definitely would include his real name, where people could track him down. So even if they didn't put out his actual address, they would be putting out enough information where people would get his actual address.
Doxing. Okay, so you have a First Amendment right to be as anti-Semitic or racist as you want to be. And by the way, we showed you that one anti-Semitic thing, which is about as anti-Semitic as it gets. He also has tons of stuff against Muslims, but nowadays that's like, oh, you're bigoted against Muslims. That doesn't count. Half the country is, right? He's got bigoted stuff about Mexicans, or racist stuff against Mexicans. That doesn't count anymore because half the country's racist against Mexicans, right? But the anti-Semitic stuff counts, and people are like, oh, and he withdrew it. Now,
this is all deflection from the real issue that CNN blackmailed him. It doesn't matter if he's a bigot. He's a private citizen without all these resources of a major news outlet, and CNN, who's been a major news outlet for decades with tons of power, tons of connections, tons of financial backing, they went after him and threatened to release his information if they don't act in a way they deem, if he doesn't act in a way CNN deems fit. That's, even if you don't consider that blackmail, which I think it should be, at least in the colloquial sense, and possibly in the legal sense, depending on how they did it, then it's still obviously wrong. That's not how the media should act. And even other media outlets are saying, yeah, this is kind of the antithesis of journalism, to silence people when you disagree with them.
Right-winger that Grace quoted then turns around and actually doxes CNN, puts out the home address of people like Wolf Blitzer, Brian Stelter, puts out their phone numbers.
To send them a message. To be like, if you're going to threaten to go after, people that have no power, then, other people in the media, because Jack Pasibic has some power. He does have a platform. He's not the size of CNN, but he's going to use his platform, and other people in the media are going to use their platforms, and they're going to release the information of your employees and the employees that are helping to push this narrative. And so CNN, if you don't stop, you're going to be putting your own employees at risk. That's the message here. And this whole thing is to defend the private citizen.
Puts out their personal address. That is a threat to their lives.
Just as CNN is threatening the life of this private citizen.
Like, we have a totally unbalanced conversation in this country where one side plays by regular rules and laws and the other side doesn't give a damn. Brian Stelter's life is in danger.
Well, it's the side that plays by the rules and laws isn't the side you think it is. CNN is the one breaking the laws potentially here. And they've broken the laws in the past. That's why they have lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. They had 3 racial discrimination lawsuits against them this year alone by May 1st. And I covered that. And then there's a potential fraud lawsuit, according to Jack Busibic, that's being filed soon by cable providers. So we'll see if that goes through or not, but or what happens with that. But that's another potential wrongdoing of CNN. So CNN has a long history. We have multiple accounts of blackmail going on like this. So CNN has been doing a lot wrong, and even if they're not breaking the quote unquote laws, they're definitely breaking rules, as in etiquette, journalistic ethics. They themselves say they don't care about journalistic ethics. They laugh at them. Jimmy Carr, the CNN associate producer, who was in the American Pravda Project Veritas James O'Keefe video, laughed at the idea of journalistic ethics. This is a business, is what he said.
Lemon's life is in danger. I don't care, is what that guy is saying. Look, I've done
CNN doesn't care, is what Jimmy Carr is saying.
1,000 videos critical of Don Lemon and Wolf Blitzer. But that doesn't mean I would put out their home address for anyone who agrees with me, wink, wink.
Would you put out their home address if they put out your home address?
And it is not the same thing to say.
Or if they said, we're gonna go after you and say, hey, if you don't stop acting a certain way, we're gonna put out your personal information. Then would you think about putting out their personal information? Or what if they went after one of your employees? Then would you try to defend your employee by going after them? Possibly, huh?
Hey, I might expose a troll who his identity, who he is.
Notice the dehumanization. If we call him a troll, he's not human. He doesn't count under he doesn't count under these rules that I've just described. Because he's a troll, he's a bigot. These are dehumanizing terms. And he's just saying this based on a tweet or two. We don't know this guy. We don't know his life and whether he was actually trolling or whether he was actually, if that's who he is or whatever. But even if he is a bigot, even if he is a troll or whatever, that doesn't mean that he should be threatened like this by CNN.
As opposed to, I'm going to tell you where he lives.
Right, and that's why I think when you get down to it, it's important to find. That seems like a violation of the law to dox someone and disclose their information with malicious intent, or at least it's.
I don't think it is a violation of the law, but I do think it should be a violation of the law to dox people, in the sense maybe have a few categories where you give out their name and address and stuff like that. I do think that should be against the law, but I don't think it is at this point.
It's okay to look into that because it does put someone's life in danger. But I had no desire to find out anything about the person who posted the original meme. Like, I see that, I'm like, all right, you tell me that person's anti-Semitic, sure. I mean,
exactly. Most people wouldn't think to go after him personally and get all his personal information, but CNN did.
I'm Semitic, and it doesn't really. I mean, it's just strange to see that instinct of CNN. Like, if it was a script about the.
He is off the reservation here, and CNN and Chen Cougar does not look happy about it. Oops. Look at the look on her face. Like, where's he going with this?
This whole thing, and it was an episode of television I was watching, and you added there was a meme that went viral, and then you added that the person who made it is anti-Semitic. I'd be like, let's delete that whole plot arc because it's not interesting to me.
Yeah, no, let me agree with Brett completely on that.
So now, a lot of Chunk's job on this show, you have to realize, is he wants to let his people, his underlings, say what they want. And he doesn't want to have the impression that he's controlling them. And that's very important, and that's a very good strategy not to do that. But that's why he acts as the mediator, and every time they say something that is off the narrative he's pushing, he'll go and try to tie in how he agrees with them, but then also how, the narrative is actually right. So that's what he's going to kind of do here.
So, yeah, a side part of this is, why is CNN, which apparently has an investigative team, investigating the most irrelevant thing out there? My God, investigate his conflicts of interest.
See that? A side thing here. And then he uses the term, how this is irrelevant. And go after the real issues, so now he's going to deflect. See, this is what Schenck does, and he's literally working for the mainstream media at this point. He's no alternative news or whatever, whatever they tried to make themselves out to be. They are just the new mainstream media.
And his tax plans, and the fact that he doesn't know there's a tax cut inside the healthcare plan. There's so many things to investigate. Instead, they went and somehow unearthed the identity of this. Who cares who made the meme? Does it matter who made the meme? I get that the guy's anti-Semitic and
now notice, if they had come out right in the beginning and said, CNN unearthed his information, you'd be like, whoa. But they did it 10 minutes in, and they're like, So now that they're kind of sneaking in, oh yeah, CNN actually did unearth his private information, which now go back previously where they said that this guy apologized on his own. So this doesn't make so CNN went after the guy and unearthed his private information after he apologized? That makes no fucking sense. But by this time, his viewers are lulled to sleep. They're in a trance, and they're already kind of agreeing with him. This guy, they've hit the trigger words like this guy's a bigot, a troll. So you have to think about this from the progressive viewer's mindset. So they're on board with all of this now.
Terrible guy. So as you just heard from me, I don't care about revealing his identity. I care that you don't reveal his private personal information. I think identity is different. Like, oh, what? I just get to be against Jews online, and now you're gonna tell me that I have to put my name on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I don't put, that part I don't care. But why did you bother? Who cares
it's so
who
strange.
made the meme?
It's so. I hope it was easy, because if it was difficult and they put a lot of like work hours into it, that would be weird.
What's also disheartening to me is that when he issued an apology, so many people.
By the way, I want to make this clear. CNN they claim to have used geographical data to find him. Geographical data. They're talking about finding his location. Okay? So it's not just that they have his name. They have his location, which means that they likely wouldn't just release his name, or that it's not limited to that. They could actually release more than that if they got upset enough.
People were like, there's no way.
And the fact that they're threatening it, that's the thing. Even if CNN never releases his address, the fact that they're threatening it is a huge problem.
He could think that what he was posting was a bad idea. That's really disheartening, is that a lot of the stuff when you
That's not the issue here. Get back onto CNN going after his personal information.
Go through, maybe we don't care about his identity, but the opinions that he was putting forth on Reddit had an audience. There's a whole community.
Oh yeah, so we can care about his identity because he's not human. He's a bigot or a troll, and he's got an audience, and therefore the end justifies the means, and we should dox him. And even though we're against doxing a non-human is a non-human bigot is acceptable.
Community of people in this subreddit that really agreed with him, that really liked these posts, and that when he issued an apology saying, hey.
Well, at least the wrestling one was, they were funny jokes. I don't even think this guy had a large audience before Trump tweeted what he did. This was like a small account, I believe.
You know what? I got called out, and it's really, I've started questioning some of the work that I put out there. I want to issue an apology. I think that it was cyberbullying or whatever. I don't agree with it. I don't think that it's right, and I want to try and do better. And people are like, oh, that's totally, he's got to be blackmailed. He would never think that. He's got to stand by this work that he's put out. I think that's what's...
Listen to the tweet or the apology. It doesn't, if I was the apology, I'd be like, I put out some racist stuff, and I was kind of sexist. And I wouldn't be saying all that shit about it. I'd be like, I said some damaging information, or I put out a damaging meme about CNN. I'm sorry. I never meant for it to blow up like it did. I didn't think that President Trump would retweet it. Sorry. I wish I hadn't done it. Maybe I'd throw in. If I felt actually remorseful, I wouldn't. It was corporate speak. And they're even going to get into that. They're going to expose it. It's going to be funny, but they're so stupid. They don't even realize how they're exposing their own lies. Actually, I think Cheng's probably the only one who's lying. The other two are just like ignorant idiots.
I'm sad about the story too.
I like his apology by and large.
Yeah.
I was not expecting like a lengthy, thoughtful apology from
really
someone
thoughtful.
who's.
Yeah, he's gonna expose every single thing that doesn't make sense about this.
Like, look at all the Jews at CNN. But I don't like in his wording where he's like, I'm in no way this kind of person. Yeah. You are. You're in every way. These are your actions you're being called out for. You're not really being held accountable for them in any way because we don't know who you are. But you're being called out for them. You are that kind of person. You are the person, I hate to break it to you, who was like, you know what? I'm going to post this meme of all the Jews at CNN. Can we go back to that meme?
Yeah.
I think the most incriminating part of that meme, the one that's from Jared Yates Sexton.
Production quality here.
It's a bunch of different faces all together.
Yeah, graphic 7. Yep.
Graphic 7. What's most incriminating is that all he had to do was add the Jewish stars. This is actually a screen cap from a panel on CNN. This whole thing, they had that many people. Mm-hmm. That's how many folks they have on at the same time. That's a CNN joke just for that. And also, they have a lot of people. So glad I went out on that limb for that joke.
Okay, so look, last thing on this.
But yeah, early on in that, his point was that, it's kind of strange how a guy goes from being an extreme racist and bigot to, issuing such a heartfelt apology that covers all his bases. Yeah, that is fucking weird. And either he wasn't the extreme racist that you're making him out to be, or he didn't put out the apology that you're claiming he did. He was forced into it, and it was suggested to him by CNN, or both. And I would say probably both.
Is that Brett's right again in that, and Grace's too, on the idea that people are rallying to his defense. Like, how dare you,
See, they're painting this as people are rallying to the defense of a bigot. No, people are rallying to the defense of a private person who's being attacked by a major news outlet.
Expose the identity of this online troll who said these terrible things, because apparently they don't think it's that terrible. They think that it's worth it.
The other thing is, a lot of times we kind of assume that it might be an American or something like that. This may have been some British person or some European person. And if it was, then there could be, potential issues with the law where they have hate crime and hate speech laws. The hate speech laws that are ridiculous, where pretty much you can go to like jail for making a trolling meme about a Jew or a Muslim or something like that, you can go to jail for like a year in some of these countries or more.
You've got United States senators jumping into the defense of this horrible guy.
That's what's weird.
Yeah, and Julian Assange, I agree with him on many other things, but now talking about, oh, did CNN break the law by blackmailing? There's no blackmail here, okay? And look at who you're defending. Yeah, they should have never bothered to look into the guy in the first place, but.
Oh yeah, you know, he says that. Oh yeah, they should have never looked into him in the first place. But then you cited the source of the guy who actually did the looking. Like, oh, he contacted us first, and we'll just take that, you know, even though this guy's acting poorly and unethically. And this is, you know, kind of a big deal, but we're just going to look over that because, you know, subhuman bigotry.
You're telling me that when he says, I'm in no way this kind of guy, okay, maybe you guys think, oh, racist jokes about Mexicans and killing them at the border, that's hilarious, you know, and a lot of people make those jokes. I'm gonna put that aside, but you don't accidentally slip up and put the Star of David next to all of the reporters on CNN and then go, oh, that was just a funny, it's not funny, there's nothing funny about it. It's not an accident, it's not a mistake, it's something you did on purpose because you think the Jews control the media. And this is the guy we're stepping up to defend as an American hero whose identity should never be revealed under any circumstance?
Well, we don't really know he's American, so. But right there, you just heard it from Shank. You don't think that his identity should be revealed under any circumstance? He's supporting at least the release of the information of his name, which, but we know that CNN is threatening more than that. They claim they have the geographical data of him, so they know where he lives. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it here. It's a little ridiculous that CNN is literally taking the side of blackmailing this guy, or that the Young Turks is taking the side of blackmailing this guy, and they're kind of trying to play both sides, where they're like, yeah, they shouldn't have gone out, they shouldn't have tried to find his personal information, but you know, this other thing is more serious. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Have a good one, guys.